Hey, well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Yoga Church Digital with Karen Hughes this morning. We're so grateful for all of you that are joining us live. And for those that will watch throughout the week, one of the cool things about this is any time that works for you in any space that's comfortable for you, you can kind of join into this practice. And we encourage you to begin, if you don't mind, if you would put your name and where you are, and even if you're okay with it, how you're feeling today. We would love to know that, and to see where everybody's at this morning. And I'm getting ready to do a brief little devotional from the Christian scriptures. Also, anybody, if you want to start a watch party, share this with your friends. Those that are joining on YouTube, if you want to um, share the link, send that out, email it, or text it to a friend. That would be amazing too. So I'm gonna share a story from the Gospel of Mark. So the Gospels are the kind of the stories about Jesus. They contain his life and his teachings and all the stories about him. We know that everybody who joins, not everybody's Christian, and that's fine. Maybe you're thinking, I'm absolutely not Christian. Hi, Jean and Patty. So good to have y'all this morning. And so wherever you are spiritually, maybe you're, no spiritual path, spiritually curious, wherever you are. So Karen and I operate from a Christian perspective. We're Christians, but we know that you can be in all different kind of spaces spiritually. We welcome all people to join into this practice of yoga and meditation and pause and restoration. So I'm going to tell a little quick story from Jesus' life, and I think it's just fascinating because most of what Jesus did, most of the really cool stuff that Jesus did, happened outside the church. Like he was out in the fields, by the river, all this stuff. And then the story this morning, this is in the Gospel of Mark in the first chapter. If anybody want to check this out, verses 29 through 39. Church kind of breaks out on Simon Peter's mother-in-law's house. And so his mother-in-law is sick. Jesus comes in and heals her. This amazing thing about Jesus is he has the power to even heal in-laws. This is amazing power. Can I get an amen on that? But the cool thing that happens is that evening at sunset, they brought all to him who were sick or those that were struggling or had psychological disorders or possessions and all those things. And the whole city's gathered around the door. So they find out, hey, Jesus is healing people. He healed Simon Peter's mother-in-law. There's this whole group of people. They're bringing all their sick and they're mentally ill and they're the broken people of the community. And Jesus is healing people and bringing wholeness to each person that he speaks over and touches. But I think the fascinating thing about this is in the melee of all this activity and people being healed and kind of these crowds trying to get close to Jesus and get their loved ones to Jesus. I could just envision the chaos and the confusion of all of this. People just trying to, hey, touch my loved one. My loved one's sick. Hey, touch my, child. They've been struggling with this illness or whatever. And in the middle of all that, Jesus is healing, touching, blessing. And in the morning, while it was still very dark, he got up and went out to a deserted place, and there he prayed. And I love this word for deserted place. And in the Greek version of the Bible, the original text, the word is the eremas, the wilderness, the silent space or the solitary place. And so Jesus goes out in the middle of all the activity and the craziness and the busyness, and he pauses and he goes out to the silent space while it's still dark. I don't know if there's any early morning runners out there today that like to get up and run while the sunrise is happening. But Jesus goes out in the darkness before the sunrise. He disconnects from all the madness and the craziness of work, and he prays and he meditates. And he's in this silent space of reflection and renewal and restoration. And all through the Bible, through the Jesus stories, this is something that Jesus does regularly. So there's these high times of activity and healing and teaching and doing all those things. Not a lot in the church building, but kind of all over the place wherever people are. Um, but then there's these times where he withdraws, he pauses, he breathes, he prays. And I like to think that what we do in our yoga practice, whether it's just for us a time to like try not to think and clear the chatter of our minds, or whether we have what Karen calls an intention that we're kind of focusing on. I like to think of this a time to come away from all the work and the craziness, and to pause and to breathe and to pray, whatever that looks like for you, and to worship, God, and whatever, form that takes for you. So I'm really grateful for this time that we get to be together and do that together. This is kind of our eremas time, our wilderness time, to separate from all the busy, crazy 24/7 blazing 5G speed stuff and just really kind of breathe, pause, and use our bodies in a posture of worship to our higher power. So, Karen, thank you so much for how you lead us each week and give of yourself, and we're grateful for you.
Great. Well, thank you. Well, welcome to yoga. Let us start with the heart of yoga, which is just breathing, breath. So close your eyes, sit in a comfortable position, and just begin to breathe, being aware of your breath. Inhaling in through the nose and exhaling through the nose. And as you breathe with each breath, begin to clear your mind. Let go of all the clutter from the week or any negativity, anything that's taking up space that shouldn't be taking up space. And your mind, let your thoughts just be good thoughts. Slow down your thoughts, slow down your breath, and just breathe. Take this time for yourself to just be, to be in the moment. And let us change our breath pattern where you inhale as deep as you can, in through the nose, and exhale through the mouth as long as you're in a safe place that is, you don't have to worry about COVID. So inhale deep in through the nose, and out through the mouth. And as you continue to breathe and clear your mind, maybe you do find an intention. Maybe your intention is something as simple as showing grace to someone or forgiveness or just being a better person. Or maybe it's a vision, like the vision of Jesus going out to the desert and the dark and watching the sun come up. What a beautiful vision. Maybe there's a vision that you can just hold on to as you go through your different poses today. Whatever your intention or vision is, let it help you to come to that place. And let us return to normal breath in through the nose and out through the nose as we open our eyes. Sit nice and tall. Take your arms out long with your palms up. Inhale to float the hands up and exhale, hands over, heart center, and namaste. Inhale to float the hands up, big stretch. Just open up those arms, stretch them out. Inhale up. And exhale, hands over, heart center. Let's try to use our breath to guide our movement today. And know that this is your practice, and that if there's anything that I'm doing that it doesn't feel good for you, it's okay to change it up, to maybe not do it, to maybe just go into a stretch. It's hard to teach for all levels, especially when I can't see you. So I'm going to give you that opportunity to just make this practice work for you, and to know that this is your practice and you're to work with your body and your breath. Next, big stretch out, floating your fingers out as long as you can, floating them down to your mat. Take your left palm up, reach up for strength and over for flexibility. We're going to go side to side, alternating arms, just reaching up and over and breathing with each big stretch. Inhale and exhale. And one more big stretch, only to let your fingers just come down to your mat by your sides. Growing tall through the crown of the head. Let's go into some shoulder shrugs with breath. Inhale to shrug up. Exhale to shrug down. Inhale up. And exhale down. Inhale up and take it into a big shoulder roll to the back. Slow shoulder rolls, external rotation, the opposite of the internal rotation that we do through most of our day, like dishes and computer work and anything that is a forward movement with the shoulders. We're going to just oppose that. Some big shoulder rolls to the back. One more big shoulder roll. And just let your shoulders rest down away from your ears as you grow just a little bit taller. Make sure your knees are bent. If you don't like folded legs, that's perfectly okay. You can take your feet out in front. Just a little bend in the knees can protect the spine as we continue with our neck and spine stretches. Growing tall through the crown of the head, let's let our left earlobe fall towards our left shoulder with a heavy head. And if you want a little bit more, you can just take that left hand and place it on top of your ear and breathe. On the next breath, go on and release, lifting your head back up to the center and slowly looking over your right shoulder with breath. Inhale to look over the shoulder very slowly and exhale to come back to the center. Go a little bit taller as we let our right earlobe fall towards our right shoulder with a heavy head. Maybe you stay there. Maybe you add to your stretch, just lifting up your right hand and placing it on top of your ear and breathe. On the next breath, slowly release your stretch, lifting your head back up to the center and slowly looking over your left shoulder with breath. Inhale to look over your shoulder and exhale to come back to the center. Let's grow a little bit taller to stretch the back of the neck. As you drop your chin to your chest, close your eyes or just gaze down to your belly and feel the weight of your head as you stretch the back of your neck. And as we continue from the top of the neck all the way down to the tailbone, stretching the spine, go on and let your spine round, letting your rib cage cave in, letting your shoulders round forward, pulling your belly into your spine and letting your head get heavier and heavier. Feeling that space open up between each vertebra. Inhale, and on the exhale, slowly roll your chin up to your left shoulder. And when you get there, go as tall as you can. As we go into our half neck circle, slowly with breath, inhale to drop the chin to the chest, rounding the spine. And as you exhale, come up to your right shoulder and grow tall through your spine. Inhale to drop the chin to the chest. Exhale, coming up to your left shoulder. And inhale to drop your chin to your chest. Exhale up to the right shoulder. And one more slow half neck circle. Inhale. And exhale, come back up to tall spine. Bring your gaze back to the center as we move into a seated cat and cow. So again, your feet can be far away or close in or folded legs as long as you can hold on to your knees. We'll start with the seated cow. So holding onto your knees, hinge forward. Lift your heart, lift your gaze, and fill your lungs up with air. Inhale. And on the exhale, you'll nod your chin and round your spine like a Halloween cat. Inhale into cow. And exhale into seated cat. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. And on this cat pose, let's just hold it as we slowly round up to tall spine, lifting your chin last. As we go into some upper body circles, starting small, we're just going to warm up that spine, especially the lower back. So go slow and listen to your body here. Gradually, maybe your circle gets a little bigger. If you want more, maybe you lift your heart as you come forward and round your back as you go to the back. Inhaling and exhaling with each circle, using your breath to guide your movement, to guide the pace of your movement. Let us switch the direction of our circles, starting small and moving slow. Remember that the slower you move a joint, the more tension you release. So the slower you circle, the more tension you will release from the lower spine, all the way up the spine. Inhaling, exhaling. Relaxing and circling and being kind to the spine. One more big circle. Inhale. Exhale, come back to tall spine. As we move into our staff pose, taking our legs out in front, pointing your toes up, and sitting as tall as you can, relaxing the shoulders down away from your ears. So you are in staff pose, which is a great stretch at the back of the legs, if you can feel that. And if you feel any awkwardness in your lower spine through any of your movements, just pull your belly into your spine and engage your core. So you can stay here, but if you want more, maybe you float your fingers up to the ceiling, letting the biceps just float over your ears, and then hinge 1 to 3 inches forward, reaching for the ceiling, letting your chest kind of float towards your knees. Pause in this hinge pose for 3 breaths. Continue to reach the fingertips up towards the ceiling and feel the energy just flow through your fingers. On the next breath, we're going to do a forward fold, but no, it's contraindicated if you're over 60 or have herniated discs, so be careful, listen to your body. Bend your knees if you need to. If your spine allows you, forward fold, floating your hands towards your feet or your ankles, and your nose floating towards your knees, and slowly try to straighten those knees if they're bent. Maybe with each breath, you just straighten a little bit more. Inhale and exhale. We're going to slowly roll our spine up, stacking 1 vertebra at a time until the chin is the last thing to come up. Let's pull our left knee in, cross your left foot over your right leg. Use your knee to get nice and tall. You can wrap that right elbow around your knee, but today I'm going to show you the Lord of the Half Fishes, which is taking that right arm up and then dropping it to the outside of that left knee, and then taking your left hand and rotating around to the back. Lifting your heart, lifting your gaze, and breathing so deep you feel your lung and your rib cage expand. So this is a nice stretch for your internal lungs and ribs, and just breathe. On the next breath, slowly come back to the center as we move into half cow face. I'm throwing out a bunch of new things here. We're going to take this left foot, left heel, towards our right hip. Now, it's okay if you can only go here. That's where you should stay. But if you can take your heel back a little bit farther, this is half cow face, so your knees are stacked. So sit nice and tall. And if you want more full cow face, would be to take your other heel back. So right heel to the left knee. Sit as tall as you can anywhere in cow face. Now, if you still want a little bit more, float your hands all the way up until your hands are in an upward salute, only to drop them over heart center. Inhale to float the hands up, and exhale to float the hands back behind your hips. We're just going to lean back, You have your hands to balance. Straighten your legs, but keep them crossed for a cross-legged staff pose. Sitting tall, pointing the toes up, floating the hands up if you can, and just hinging 2 or 3 inches. Maybe you stay here, or maybe you join me for a forward fold. Remember to listen to your body and to breathe. Breathe deep here. In through the nose and out through the nose. If inhaling in through the nose and exhaling through the mouth is something that you like a little bit better, then you're welcome to do that. That is a Pilates breath or a purifying breath. So you're welcome to breathe whatever works for you and for your practice. Inhaling on the exhale, slowly round that spine up, stacking the vertebra once again, lifting the chin last, uncrossing the legs and pulling that right knee in to get nice and tall. Now remember, going to cross your foot over. Remember, if you don't want to do Lord of the Half Fishes, you can use your forearm or your elbow to get a little taller. Otherwise, float your left arm up and then drop it to the outside of that right knee as you take your right hand around to the back of your hips. Lift your heart, lift your gaze, and breathe, breathe deep. That inhale really helps to stretch out the rib cage and feel the lung expand. On the next breath, slowly come back around to the center as we move into that half-cow face. We're going to take that right heel or foot and push it towards our left hip to stack our knees as much as it feels good for your body. If you want a little more, you can pull that left foot back as well. So both feet are back and knees are stacked. Sit nice and tall. You're going to feel this coming through your outside glutes. It's a great piriformis stretch. If you still want more, you can inhale up into upward salute and exhale hands over heart center. Maybe not. Inhale to float the hands up with your gaze. Exhale, bring your hands back behind your lower back. Lean back with a long spine as you straighten your legs, but keep them crossed for our cross-legged staff pose. Pointing the toes up, sitting nice and tall. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you want more. Float your fingers up to the ceiling and hinge 1 to 3 inches, whatever feels good for you. So you're kind of pressing your chest towards your knee with a long spine. If you want to continue with your forward fold, going in forward fold, reaching for your toes, reaching for your feet, and breathe. Inhale on the exhale, slowly round the spine up once again, 1 vertebra at a time, sitting nice and tall. Bringing the soles of the feet together for our supine butterfly. If you have back issues, your feet are away. If not, you can pull them in. You can even wiggle to get closer. Grab hold with your hands, either to your knees or your shins or your ankles, whatever feels good for your body. That's the most important thing. Push your knees away from each other. That's more important than pressing them towards the floor. And then if you still want more, we can open up that lower back with a little stretch by sitting tall, using your hand grip to sit tall as you float your elbows over your knees. Gently press them. Tuck your chin, look at your belly, and let your nose float towards your feet. Relax your shoulders and breathe. On the next breath, slowly roll the spine up to tall spine as we bring our knees together and transition to hands and knees for our kneeling cat and cow. If you can't come to your knees, you can go back to that seated cat and cow. It's just as good. It feels great. It really loosens up the spine. But otherwise, in kneeling cat and cow, your wrists are under your shoulders and your hands, knees, and feet are in alignment. So you really can't see your toes if you look down there. Go on and tuck your chin, round your spine, pull your belly into your spine, and lift your back up like a Halloween cat. And then to move into cow, drop the belly towards your mat, soften the elbows, wrists, and shoulders. As you lift your heart, lift your gaze, inhale. Exhale into cow. Inhale into cow. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale and hold that cat pose as we go into some hip circles, taking your hips over to the side, over your heel, the other heel out to the side and back to the center, and then switch directions. Remember to move slow here. Bigger and slower is better as we release any tension in our joints here. Inhaling and exhaling with each big hip circle. And one more big hip circle. As we drop into a extended child's pose, uncurl your toes if they're called under. Drop your buttocks towards your heels and reach your hands away from your shoulders. Your arms are extended. Drop your forehead to your mat. Extended child's pose. Know that this is a pose you can come to at any time during your practice. If I'm doing something that might be something that just doesn't feel right, or you feel in pain, or whatever the reason might be, this is a wonderful pose to come to. It's very restoring if you can just breathe and relax in child's pose. Next, we're going to come back to our hands and knees. Another modification we use child's pose for is if you cannot do downward dog. So if you have glaucoma, or maybe you have high blood pressure, or any kind of lower back or back issues, just do your child's pose if downward dog doesn't feel good for you. So curl your toes under. Before we do our downward dog, let's just stretch the soles of the feet. I ran this morning too. It was a beautiful morning to just watch the sun come up. And my feet are the one thing that give me so much trouble with running. So I don't know about you, but I just don't stretch my feet enough. And I think it's really important because we try to stretch the rest of our body, but we don't really take enough care of our feet as we should. So let's just take this time to do that. So as your toes are curled under, press the balls of your feet towards the back of your mat. And then if you want a little more challenge, you can go into a bent knee plank, lifting your knees about 2 inches, pulling your belly into your spine, keeping your neck in alignment with your spine, and breathing in a bent knee plank. Bring those knees down whenever you feel you need to. And from here, we can push right up into our downward dog, lifting your sits bones, lifting your knees, looking at your knees, and just letting the crown of the head float towards the mat, pressing the floor away with the heels of your hands and the balls of your feet. We can go into pedaling here, dropping your left heel, right heel, left, right, maybe dropping both heels down as you feel the stretch, pushing your sits bones up a little bit higher. We're going to go into some vinyasas here. So if you can lift your heels, you should be able to drop your shoulders right over your wrist. Maybe you have to wiggle your feet back a little. Pull your belly into your side. You're in a full plank, and if this is difficult, it's perfectly okay to bring your knees down. Otherwise, let's try to strengthen that core, challenge our core, and get just a little stronger. So here is where you can use that intention or that vision. You can even close your eyes. And sometimes it just takes away the little awkwardness that you might be feeling, just by focusing on whatever it is that you're focusing on today. From there, we're going to lower our entire body down so our fingertips are in alignment with the tops of our shoulders. Squeeze your elbows in, uncurl your toes. Cobra is next, and Cobra is not for everyone, so it will compress your lower disc in your back, so maybe you just lift an inch or two. Inhale. So maybe you lift a little higher. This is your Cobra, so whatever feels good, whatever your spine allows you to do. Let your elbows come close to your sides so you can support your upper body. Relax your shoulders and breathe in Cobra pose. On the next breath, we'll push back into our child's pose, where maybe you stay, or maybe you curl your toes under and come up into downward dog. As we pedal again, left heel, right, left, right, both heels pressing down, feeling the stretch. As we prepare to come into our plank again, Lift your heels, drop your shoulders over your wrist. It's important that your wrists are under your shoulders and not your face. That's to protect your wrist and your shoulders. Maybe you drop your knees down. That's perfectly okay. Otherwise, let's hold our plank for 3 breaths. Pull your belly into your spine. Be sure that you're transitioning your body weight through your whole body. I used to have so much weight, I just put it all on my upper body and my wrist would just be killing me. So use your whole body to just transition that weight through your entire body. From here, you can go back into Cobra, or you can join me for Chaturanga. Slowly lower yourself and hold your body up with your elbows. And hold that for as long as you can, or maybe you drop down and go back into your Cobra. And breathe. And then we'll push back into that extended child's pose. Or maybe you stay, or maybe you come back up to downward dog with me. Then we go into prancing. Left heel, left, right, left, right. Both heels pressing down, sits bones pressing up. Lifting the heels, moving back into plank. And pulling your belly in, maybe bringing your knees down, maybe not. That's what I love about yoga is we're all built so differently, we all move differently, so we all look differently, and we're all going to do our own practice. I'm just here to help you and guide you, and I hope that that's working for you. Hopefully you're getting stronger as you do your practice each and every week. So from here we can go into up dog, or you can drop right back down into Cobra. Uncurl the toes for up dog and float your hips down towards the mat. Don't let them touch. Lift your heart, lift your gaze, and breathe. And then push back into your child's pose and breathe. And then coming back into downward dog or staying into child's pose. We're going to take this time to go into a nice runner's lunge, and then from there we'll go right into our warriors. So float your left leg up as high as you can, and then you're going to swing it through, your foot through, so it lands in the front of your mat, right on the side of your left hand. All right, so some of us, we end up here. That's okay. Try to pick it up and bring it so that you have a nice 90-degree bend. That's to protect your knees. So you can stay here, or you can drop your knee and just feel the stretch. And then from there, we're going to go right into crescent lunge. So you'll bring your hands on top of your knee to the thigh and slowly lift yourself up. Be careful here. Float your arms up. They will help you balance. Crescent lunge. And then warrior one, turn your back foot out to the side. And then you want to check your alignment. So your front heel should be in alignment with your back arch, right? Reach up high. And then drop your left arm forward and your right arm back. Ideally, your wrist would be over your ankles. That's something we work towards. It's not always that easy to get there. But warrior two is a reset pose. So if you need to stay here or come here at any time, do so. Peaceful warrior, drop your back hand, flip your front palm. Begin to reach up a little, or maybe you want more, you reach all the way up, or maybe even more all the way to the back. And breathe. Come back into warrior two as we go into the side angle, dropping our elbow to our front knee, taking our back hand up. Protecting your neck by looking down at your big toe. And if you want more, you can do extended side angle, just extending your left arm down, hand comes down to the inside of your ankle. And then slowly coming back into warrior two to reset as we move into triangle. Straighten out that front knee, hinge your upper body forward, drop your hand to your thigh or your shin. Reach your back hand up with a great stretch. From here, we're going to float that top hand down, turn our back foot forward, your back in that deep runner's lunge. And then lift your hips as you step back, or if you're on your knee, bring your foot back into downward dog. And then pedaling, left heel, right, left, right, left, right. Both heels pressing down, sits bones pressing up. Warriors on the other side will flip that right foot up as high as you can and swing that right foot forward to the outside of your right wrist. Remember, if your foot's back here, just to pick it up and bring it forward to protect your knee. All right, from here, you can drop your knee or you can keep it up. We're going to go into that crescent lunge, bringing your hands on top of the knee and slowly lifting your heart, lifting your gaze, lifting your upper body, floating your hands up to reach up high. Crescent lunge. Slowly turn your back foot out. Be careful here. And rotate a little more towards that front knee. Warrior one. Warrior two, dropping your right arm forward, left arm to the back. Warrior two, reset pose, and then peaceful warrior. Reach up. Maybe you want more, you reach to the back. Think of your intention with each warrior pose. Coming back into warrior two to reset as you move into side angle, floating that back hand up, looking down at your big toe. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you extended side angle. If you still want more, you can always gaze up or you can gaze down. On the next breath, come back into warrior two, where we go into triangle, straightening out that left knee, hinging the upper body forward, dropping your hand to either your thigh or your shin. Maybe reaching your hand up, looking down at your big toe. And then as you windmill that top hand down, bend your knee, turn your back foot, you're back into that deep runner's lunge. And then you'll just lift your hips as you bring that foot back. And back into our pedaling. Left heel, right, left, right, both heels pressing down. Next, we're going to end up in a standing forward fold. So that's just like staff pose, except that you're standing. So you can either walk forward or hop forward into that standing forward fold. Tuck your chin as though you were just going to kiss your knees. So we want our crown of our head just floating down towards our feet. Arms are relaxed like a rag doll. And breathe. If you did a long run this morning, you need a little extra. Maybe you just wiggle your hips a little bit side to side. Be sure that your eyes stay on your knees to protect your neck. Now you can stay here or join me in a deep yoga squat. So you take the big toes out, heels out, big toes out, and then you're just going to drop your buttocks down, lift your heart, lift your chest, lift your hands over your heart, and breathe. Or maybe you stay in the standing forward fold, just enjoying that stretch. Inhale and exhale. If you're in the deep squat, go and drop your hands, tuck your chin, lift your hips. Take your big toes in, heels so your feet are back together. And because we've been in this forward fold for so long, we're going to go slowly up to standing so we don't get dizzy. So slide your hands on top of your knees and just straighten your arms and gaze to the front of your mat. And breathe 3 breaths here. And from here, we're going to move right into chair pose. So pretend you have a chair behind you. As you float your hands up along with your gaze, lift your heart. Maybe you prefer the bar stool. Chair pose is a wonderful pose for balance and restoration. Focus on your intention or your vision. And gaze down to your toes. Be sure you can see your toenails. If you can't lift up, we want to protect our knees. They need to stay behind our toes. On the next breath, stand all the way up, circle your arms all the way around into your hands and over your heart center. As we move into our tree pose, I like to do it every week so you can see how you're progressing. It's okay to hold on to something Or you can stay at an easier spot. You don't have to lift your big toe off the floor. Or you can step off your mat. If you have carpet, sometimes that can throw you off. However, you know, when we walk outside, we go outside, we really don't have level places to walk. So it's also good to have that challenge of somewhat of a little bit of an unlevel surface. So that's up to you. Hands over your heart. We'll start with our left heel, lifting it and turning it to the inside of the right ankle. Now, remember to stand tall, pull your belly into your spine. Maybe you float your big toe up a little or a lot. Or the traditional tree pose, you lift up your foot and put it in the inside of your upper thigh. Breathe. Let's breathe 3 more breaths here. On the next breath, going to release. Let's take our hands down by our sides. Relax your arms, palms are forward as we move into mountain pose. Close your eyes and just feel the connection of the soles of your feet to the earth. Breathe in strength. Imagine you're a tall, strong mountain. On the next breath, open your eyes, float your hands all the way up, hands over heart center. I encourage you to change your arm position on this side for your tree pose. So maybe you're a tall tree with lots of branches, or just a fat shrub, or just whatever kind of tree you want to be. It's your tree. Lifting up your right heel, maybe you keep your big toe down. Maybe you float it up a little or a lot. Maybe you're someone that's putting the sole of your foot on the inside of your upper thigh. Stand tall, find a spot in the room that's not moving. Focus on it, focus on your intention. Breathe in strength. Breathe in stability and balance in your life, mentally, physically, and spiritually. Inhale and exhale, go on and release, shoulder rolls back. We're going to swan dive down back to our knees. So first we'll start with our hands over our heart, soft knees with a couple of swan dives. Inhale to float the hands up. As you swan dive, your hips go to the back, like they're just going to hit a wall back there. Hands come to your knees, flip your hands, or maybe your ankles. And from here, it's important that you bend your knees even more, like you're taking a big, heavy load of love, of energy, of peace, and bringing it from heaven all the way into your heart center. Let's do 2 more of our swan dives with breath. Inhale to float the hands up. As you exhale, swan dive down. Inhale, come up. And exhale, breathe to heart center. And one more, inhale. Inhale and exhale. To go down to the mat, we're going to a forward fold. Of course, if you have other ways that you need to go down to the mat, please do so. Reach your fingers up as high as you can reach, and then forward fold, fingertips down in front of your toes, and then step back onto your hands and knees. Back to hands and knees again, and then we will, let's go ahead and do a couple of plank bird dogs. So you'll float your left hand out, and then float your left arm up. And then float your right leg long, extend it as long as you can. And if you can float it up, do so. Excellent. Now, reach with your lifted arm and leg and breathe from your belly into your spine. You want to drop that knee and drop that hand, maybe shake your hips side to side as we go to the other side. Float your right hand out as far as you can reach. It's okay to keep it down there if you have wrist issues. Otherwise, float the arm up, extend that left leg, flexing the foot, and then if you can, float it up. Feel the energy. Maybe you flip your thumb up. Feel the energy going through the fingers, through the heel, through your whole body. Pull your belly into your spine. It's important to keep your neck in alignment with your spine. 2 more breaths here. On the next breath, drop the hand, drop the knee as we transition onto our buttocks for our boat pose and then into our supine last minute relaxation. So hands come behind the knees, sit tall first, and then roll past your tailbone, holding on to the backs of your legs. Pull your belly into your spine. Be sure you're off of your tailbone, so you're rolled past your tailbone. Then drop your shoulders, lift your chin, lift your heart. Lift your legs into tabletop. Maybe you just do one leg at a time. That's okay. Maybe you hold on with your hands on the mat, or maybe you reach your arms long. Or you can even straighten your legs. Inhale and exhale. On the next breath, bring your hands back behind your knees, hinge forward, sit nice and tall. As we transition to our backs, roll past your tailbone, and this time, as you lift your feet slowly, one vertebra at a time, round, peel the spine down, round your spine, so just one vertebra at a time comes down to your mat. Drop the back of your head, bear hug your knees, and gently rock them side to side. Take your hands on top of your knees so we can circle our knees away from each other, out to the side, down, and back together. Slower and bigger is better here. And if for some reason your hands are on your shins, you're probably going to limit the size of your circles. And you want your circles to be really big. So let your fingertips come on top of your knees so you can guide those knees in big, slow circles. And then switch the direction of your circles. Inhaling and exhaling with each circle. On the next circle, as we come up with our knees, go ahead and pull your knees away from each other. Left knee to the left armpit, right knee to the right armpit. This is a modified happy baby. If you want more, you can lift your big toes over your knees and grab hold of them, or not. And breathe. You can also help by trying to push your tailbone towards the mat because it's probably pretty lifted. And then pull your belly into your spine to help to get the most from your happy baby. And then from here, let's bring our legs up the wall. And just let your legs be weightless while your body is grounded. So let's continue to breathe with our legs up the wall. Seems like our hour has gone by so fast today. There's more I want to do, so we'll have to do it next week. So from legs up the wall, you can stay there. And we will go into Savasana, final relaxation. Some people actually put a little block under their hips with their legs up the wall. Or drop your feet and let your knees fall away from each other with the soles of the feet together, or even just straight legs. I find that the most relaxing. And then float your arms out to a T with your palms up and close your eyes and just melt into your mat and breathe. Take this time to just be. Take this time for yourself to be in the moment, to breathe and to relax. Continue to breathe and just melt into your mat, relaxing your whole body from your toes to the arches of your feet, your heels, your calves, the backs of your knees and your buttocks, all the way up your spine to your shoulders. Relax your shoulders just a little more. And your arms, the insides of your elbows, and your wrists, palms of your hands, relaxing your hip bones and your pelvis, your belly, your chest, your neck, your scalp, all the muscles in your face. We hold a lot of tension in our face. See if you can relax all of the muscles in your face. Relax your forehead, eyebrows and your eyelids, even your cheekbones, your nose, your chin, your earlobes, even your teeth. Unclench them, let them part. Let your tongue fall away from your teeth. Relax your lips and just be. Just breathe. And if you're in a safe place to do exhalation with your breath, we can go into purifying breaths, inhaling as deep as you can in through the nose, so deep your belly rises high. And then exhale all the old air out of your mouth. A long exhale. And again, inhale. Exhale long. And one more purifying breath. Inhaling as deep as you can. And then exhale all that old air out, returning to normal breath. In through the nose and out through the nose. As we return to normal breath. And then let us roll over onto our sides, somewhat in a fetal position if you're comfortable doing so. Just opening our hearts and letting your hearts be filled with love today. Love of yourself, love of others, and love of the unlovable. May your hearts be filled with grace and gratitude and peace. All starts in our own hearts. And then you can stay where you are, or you can join me for our ending of our practice with prayer requests by coming back up to a seated position with your knees bent in a comfortable position, sitting tall, and lifting up any prayer requests. So you can jot them down, you can yell them in your room. We're going to pray in the spirit. We know we're not together in person, but we can still lift up prayer for each other. So let's do that, and then we will close. Lift a prayer for each of you that have joined our practice today and that joined throughout the week, that you stay safe and that you stay healthy, mentally, physically, and spiritually. And I pray that you feel renewed and restored from your practice today. Let's open our eyes, take our arms out long with our palms up. Inhale to float the hands up and exhale, hands over heart center. Peace be with you and namaste. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you so much, Karen. Can we give some comments and some likes and loves and social media appreciation out there today for Karen for leading us? We're getting ready to close with a final prayer, and I'm going to lead us in the Lord's Prayer, and we'll pop that up so that you can read it. It is a Christian prayer. It's a well-known prayer. It's been prayed by people all over the world, Christian and not Christian. It kind of covers all of our bases. So when we join into that prayer, we join our voices and hearts with all those across the world who pray it. So let me pop this up here, and we'll close today with this prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. So we will soon have a date that we can have a conversation with a difference. So maybe you've been joining us for a while in our yoga practice and would like to maybe talk about some spiritual practices that have been sustaining you throughout the pandemic and throughout all the challenges that we've been facing. We'll come together for a conversation. We'll put a date out there. We usually do that by Zoom. And so we just kind of join together and have a little chat about how we're processing and staying together through this time of pandemic. So we thank you all for joining us today. And thank you again, Karen, for leading us. Have a great week. Please share this